That was a quick pace.
Was it?
Setting a hot pace for us this show.
Oh. Well, that's not what I meant to do.
No, that is what we need to do, Joey. Let's pick up the pace.
Okay.
Let's go. That's
Okay.
how we play. We play
right.
fast and loose on this podcast. We make a few
I play
mistakes,
fast.
but it's fine.
You can't. What is it? You can't make an omelet unless you break an egg or something. I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's yeah. What is it? If you want to make lemonade, you got to break a few eggs. I think is
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so just prepare to...
It'll be great.
It'll be perfect. Yeah, so just prepare to...
Y'all motherfuckers don't watch us play throughout the year, to tell you the truth. I'm gonna be real with you, and I don't care if I get fined.
I got my sweet jerk with them.
That train is off the track.
I feel like you can't just like jump through Neptune and be okay.
Just prepare to...
What the show needs is more dogs and bears and chickens and stuff.
Yeah, so just prepare to be awash in unbeatable goodness.
Welcome, Pacer fans. You were listening to the Undebeatables, your semi-weekly Pacers podcast. And this is episode 724. Coming to you from Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm your host, Joey Gaffrida, the man behind the dials. This show, we're going to discuss a few things going along around the league. There was some new additions to the Hall of Fame, changes in the Fever staff. We're going to talk about what our personal goals are for the Pacers this season, and anything else that comes up, we'll direct it your way, towards your ears. This show, joining me are all three of our analysts, coast to coast, like buttered toast. First, from the high school home of Jameson Brewer, Silver Spring, Maryland, it's the doctor, Jason Triplin.
What is up, Pacers fans? What is up, Undebeatables? Shout out to Halloween. It's a spooky episode.
From Asheville, North Carolina, he's our in-house bartender, mixing up the drinks and the crappy jingles, John Colson.
Ah!
Are you dressed as the Scream?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I mean, just in your mind palace while you listen to us, just imagine me dressed as the Scream.
And
Will always be a slutty nun to me.
as for Tacoma, Washington out west, it's our enforcer, John Harper.
What is going on, team? Happy Halloween. What is the Christian thing or the pagan thing that Halloween's supposed to be over on top of?
Well, All Saints Day is supposed to be over.
All Saints?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
and that's the day after. Yeah.
Yeah, happy All Saints Day. You heathens.
Oh, before we get into the show, I just want to remind listeners that they can support us, the longest running Pacers podcast, by heading over to patreon.com/Undebeatables. And you can throw your Bitcoin our way if you are living in a cashless society. Or you just want to send a few coin our way. You get access to our Slack, and there's several tiers on there. Everything's listed on the site.
Is that true? Does Patreon take Bitcoin?
I mean, I do.
Yeah,
I don't know that.
for just the low price of 2 Bitcoin, you can get a shirt.
We'll get you a lifetime membership.
Yeah.
I don't believe they do take it directly, but hey, I'll find a way, you know. So, team, we want to discuss several things. The first one was the new banner raised at the Fieldhouse, and I got to see that go up. And
wait, did we win the title last year?
Woo-hoo!
And
This is the first
I
home
blacked out.
game.
I was so excited.
Raised the banner at the first home game.
We get rings as podcasters, right?
If people donate enough to Patreon, we will get rings. I got a guy. But so the NBA Hall of Fame it's not the NBA Hall of Fame. The Basketball Hall of Fame has inducted Herb Simon into be remembered, and he's the longest running
Pacers podcast.
He is the longest running Pacers podcast, I guess. And so he is in the Hall of Fame. So we raised the banner, we being the Pacers organization, in the banner. So he is up with Mel and also all the other Hall of Famers.
Reggie. So when you say we, it wasn't you and Wei Wen pulling a rope as it was lifted up to the rafters.
That was what it was supposed to be, but he's comically small, and well, he got sent to physics is a funny thing, and no, it was not us, but they just sort of turned the lights on it, and it's up there, and it's got the little Hall of Fame badge on there for the ones. Most of them up there do have the Hall of Fame badge, but.
Do you think the Herb Simon banner is like rubbing it in on the Mel Simon banner? Like
a little
Hall of Fame, buddy.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
but so this is just for
cool.
owning the team, huh? For a long time.
Well, I think really it's for the contributions that he's made to the league and to the sport of basketball over those 40 plus years. Of being involved in the franchise, and being one of the teams that we've been beloved for so long. We also, the Fever are part of the organization, and we're one of the teams that first came into the league, and they've been very successful there as well. We have an esports team, which was not brought up during the speech, I don't think, but we have that too.
Have the Pacers won any championships? Do we have E titles?
I don't know, and
yeah,
if you're interested, dig into it.
I will say they did the broadcast before Game 1 did a nice little piece on this, and had good little snippets from like Reggie Miller and Tamika Catchings talking about how important Herb Simon and the Simons in general were to their successes and the successes of the Pacers. So it was a touching little thing. He's been a member that a supporter of the community at large as well, I would say, over his career. So deserved, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the argument for the Pacers helping, make us a top 15 city in the United States is a makeable argument.
Very persuasive.
Population wise.
And I can report back that the Pacers have not won an NBA 2K League championship.
Oh man, I never won anything cool.
And so Colson, if you join the team, I think you'll add a little unpredictability to the game, because you'll pull up from anywhere.
It's true. I thought you were going to say I was going to add age and wisdom.
You could do that too, but I think it's just because you get confused about which button does what. But you know what? They never know what you're going to do next.
That's true. You push them a lot real fast. Yep. Stuff happens.
He's a top tier button masher. New banner in the stadium. Anytime there's a big change like that, I think it's something worth discussing. Second of all, we're gonna talk about other changes. Somebody whose banner's not going to be there. One would assume. Christy Sides, coach of the Fever, was also. I don't know if there's a connection, but the day the banner went up, Sides got canned. So, Harper, you're the one that I often see you behind you. You've got some push pins, a lot of string, and you're connecting
Somebody's got
everything.
to connect the dots.
Yeah. What do you think about this? So Fever go to the playoffs for the first time since 2016, and go 2020, significant improvement over last year. Have, of course, Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston, both rookies of the year. Is it rookie of the years or rookies of the year? It's got to be rookies of the year for the last 2 years.
Like attorneys general.
Yeah, attorneys general. Team is clearly trending up. What do you feel about this? Do you think that Sides need a little more time to, or was she not the team to get them to the title? Because they're clear their goal is to win a title.
I mean, I was for sure surprised by this. I mean, she inherited a team that won 5 games last year. She got certainly very fortunate with, a second number 1 overall draft pick who turned out to be a generational player. So, hey, that's nice. But she goes from, the 5 wins that we had to 13 to 20. That seems to be the right pace on a rebuild. My memory is that there was some anecdote about her talking to, our GM when she was hired, and 5 years is kind of the amount of time for a rebuild to get the job done. And she got fired after 2 years, and it didn't seem like she did anything, at least on the surface, really wrong. So I was definitely surprised to see that. Obviously, there's some really high expectations for this team. You're absolutely right. Championship aspirations are out there. You'd be a little surprised if the next coach wasn't already chosen, and it may be that Lisa Bluter, Caitlin Clark's coach at Iowa, will be out of retirement and coaching the Fever here shortly. So I don't know. I was surprised to see it, but it may be that there were things happening behind the scenes, and maybe the players weren't as happy as they could be.
Well, it also seemed there was changes at the top of the organization, right? So there's a new Kelly Krauskopf returned as the Fever president, and Amber Cox as the general manager just recently, I think, right?
Yeah, that was within the last couple weeks, I think.
Yeah, so I mean, it's maybe getting it from both sides. I mean, I think it's I guess maybe it's new GM syndrome, but when you have a talent like Caitlin Clark, you want to make sure you get it right. You know what I mean? And so if you don't think that the coach that's in place is the right thing to maximize her success and make sure that she's happy and wanting to re-sign and stay with your franchise, then better to nip that in the bud early than let it fester.
Yeah, and Colson, I know we've all seen some of these really high talent players kind of get stuck in these organizations, and you kind of feel bad for them at some point, and we don't want that, of course, to happen for Clark.
A lot of those situations are that the when we feel real bad for him is the player doesn't have enough good help around them, not putting the pieces around the talent to succeed with Boston on this team. You've got a pretty good sidekick. But yeah, you definitely want to get the coaching right. And if you feel like it's not the person to take you to championship, you probably should do something about it. But I'm with you, Harbor. This seems like it was, I was surprised by it, especially this late. If they didn't like her, let's fire after the end of the season. But now, if you got new GM, they want to bring in their own people, make mistakes on their own. Sure.
Yeah. Other names that seem to be floating out there: former Indiana Fever player and previous coach Stephanie White is being floated. as well as maybe a Cheryl Miller. Which would be interesting for us.
Reggie.
Stephanie White's coaching elsewhere, unless she got.
She was with I think she was with the Connecticut Sun previously.
Okay.
What's Pop doing? Pop want to come coach the Fever?
I think Pop's busy.
Nah.
Not in the off season, you know.
What's he got going on?
I knew a
Cut
guy.
into his red wine drinking time. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's true.
I mean, if he wants to coach the Fever and drink wine on the sidelines, I will co-sign.
Yeah, I'll get him a paper bag. Like, we can make it happen.
Yeah.
I knew a guy that coached the boys and girls high school soccer teams at the same time because they just didn't have another coach, so he just did them both. And I was like,
My goodness.
how is that possible? And he's like, well, what I've done is I just run. They just had two fields next to each other, and I just run everything at the same time, and I just go back and forth between the two. So it was not sustainable.
Two highly effective programs, I'm sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
How many state titles did they win?
He didn't win any there, but after he left and went to a much better school, or a bigger
Where
school
he only had to coach one team at a time.
with one team, he also inherited like it was like the team. I think they'd either won the title the year before, or they had gone really far, and then and they also brought back like I don't know 9 of the starters or something. So he won a state title that year.
Oh, was that the team with Cristiano Ronaldo's statue on it?
No, they couldn't win. They couldn't win anything.
But fear the heart of men.
You know, this is going to be something hard to describe on a podcast, but there was a statue recently unveiled in Miami of Dwayne Wade, and I don't know if you guys... So, there's video of it, and there's pictures of it. From the neck down, as far as I can tell, that's Dwayne Wade. He's pointing down. Dwayne Wade pointed down all the time. But that statue, I don't know. Colson, what would you... On like a percentage-wise, like if you saw that statue on the street, if it passed you like in a dark alley, would you... Would you recognize it for who he was?
Yeah, you know how I said I was the Scream for Halloween?
Yeah.
Ah! No, I'm the Dwayne Wade statue. He looks like the comment that really got me is you see he looks like Lawrence Fishburne. He does. Yeah. It's like a screaming Lawrence Fishburne, which is not what Dwayne Wade looks like at all.
Yeah. I also saw
like
Kelsey
really
Grammer and the villain from The Mask, and it's like a little bit of all of those things.
Yeah, like a giant baby head. It's weird. It's weird. Oh, yeah. I know it's hard to make likenesses. I know that's difficult.
You've spent a lot of time doing likenesses.
Well, I mean,
You've been trying to
Your sculpting career.
exactly.
I mean,
Working with bronze lately.
that's what I'm saying. I think once you move to bronze, it gets the subtlety goes away. Maybe I don't know. So when you have somebody screaming, it just turns into a screaming Kelsey Grammer, I guess.
Yeah.
And is he pointing down because it's like this is my house sort of thing? Mm-hmm. Is that what? Mm-hmm. Did he do that a bunch?
At least once, probably
for the photo.
Yeah.
Or no, I think Lawrence Fishburne did it once in a movie.
Yeah.
Do you think they hired Fishburne as like the model?
Yeah. And then they just went with it.
Yeah.
I mean, how does this stuff? I mean, I get it. They paid somebody a bunch of money. They commissioned this thing, and then it gets done, and it comes out. It comes out of the bronze factory or whatever, all messed up, and they're like, "Well, you already paid for it. See you later, guys."
Yeah.
I don't know. This seems real bad to me. And like that's just gonna be outside their arena forever. Dwayne Wade did not seem that excited when he saw it unveiled.
no. No, and what a cruel thing to like unveil it to him for the first time with him present in a very public setting where he then has to get on a microphone afterwards and say, "Wow, who is that guy?"
Yeah.
Literally, that's what he said.
Like an out-of-body experience. Who is that? No one knows. Apparently, it was the same company that did like the Michael Jordan statue. So they've done stuff right before. But yeah, it seems like they got real drunk before doing this one.
The Jordan one's cool.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
that's great.
Iconic.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, team. As we mentioned before. By the way, before I move on to the next topic, I did see one more note on the Christie sides. She tweeted today after the news came out, and she left a note on Twitter. It just says, "Leave it better than you found it," and the peace sign.
Peace.
Nice.
Yeah, which she did.
She definitely did
Sure.
that.
Yeah,
She
without
sure
a
did
doubt.
that.
And she's gonna find a good gig somewhere.
Yeah. Yep. But the next thing I want to talk about is we want to set some goals for the team, the Pacers team, for this upcoming season. And I want to kind of dig in a little bit in the weeds on like what we think the team needs to do to be successful. So, we had talked about Colson, what was it, 45, 50, 55?
Yeah.
For, sort of goal, your stretch goal, and then, if everything lined up perfectly, where would we land? So as of recording, we are 54 wins short of the top goal. So we've got some work to do.
Sure. Long season, though. Long season.
A long season.
The way we're doing it.
We've got some individual goals that were set ahead of time. Matherin getting 20 plus off the bench was set.
The bench scoring 50 points a game.
Bench 50 points a game.
Turner
What
getting
else?
8 rebounds a game.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That.
We wanted to be a top 15 defense.
Yeah. We were trying to get out
Are
of
you
the
supposed
20s.
to laugh when I say that?
I think we were trying to get out of the
Come on.
20s.
So, what are some other things that we need to see the team do really to, one is to be like a better than average team, maybe at 45 wins, and then one of the more successful teams at 50 and 55 wins are sort of up towards the elite, the elite group of teams. What would we see for? I mean, so like I'll start with one is rebounding. Rebounding is a big thing for successful basketball teams. When we take a bunch of shots and we don't miss, there's not that many opportunities for O boards, but we saw last year if we were sort of one-dimensional, not always, not really, but like if we didn't blow them out of the water offensively, if the game was a little more grindy, we struggled to win those games.
Didn't have a lot of other clubs in the bag.
Yeah.
Scoring a bunch of points on you.
Yeah, right. Like they just had a driver, and they just showed up and said like, as long as I hit a hole in one every time, I'm fine. But anyway, what do we want to see around? Do we need to out rebound teams every night? Do we need to just keep it close, or are we going to need to become a team that is just like an actually good rebounding team?
Yeah, Joey, I'm your friend, and part of my job as being your friend is to keep you from hurting yourself or setting yourself up for expectations that are never going to be fulfilled. You've been doing a podcast about the Pacers for, what is this? This is now our 13th year?
Yeah, I think so.
And you've been a fan of the team for much longer than that. Has there been a season that you watched this team play basketball that you were felt that we were a dominant rebounding team? Or even a mediocre rebounding team?
I think the first season we did this.
Yeah, I mean, I think you'd have to go back to exactly that era, or the 05 or 04, 05, like that era with the
Artest
Jermaine O'Neals and
Jermaine O'Neal and
yeah.
Brad Miller.
The answer basically is no. We've had good teams, but they weren't rebounding teams.
So Joe, I mean, I think part of this is like threefold in my mind. One is that the scheme is to play very fast and to score as much as possible, and so guys leak out, right? So you don't have 5 guys going to the glass. You got guys that are on the perimeter already running once the ball goes up from the other team. That's part of scheme, and so if you don't have all 5 guys crashing the glass, sometimes you're going to be out rebounded. The other thing is we don't have dominant rebounders. I mean, Miles Turner is a average rebounder for his size.
Very generous.
Siakam is
average.
an average rebounder for his size. These guys aren't elite rebounders. And they're not, I mean, they're tall and lanky, but they're not, move guys out of their spot kind of guys. And it's kind of what it takes. I mean, Andre Drummond just threw everybody out of the way to get rebounds. It was that easy for him. He's got good hands, he's got good feet, and he's just got a big ass, And he got 17 rebounds against us. Because we don't have anybody on our team that can just say, no, I'm going to go get that ball.
Yeah, but what about Caleb Martin?
Well, right. Again, I think it's partly scheme and it's partly personnel.
Sure.
So without the
things
guys
that affect your play, I
yeah,
agree.
I'm just saying, if you want this team to rebound, Joey, I would think about something else. Have them hit more threes.
But
All
this
right,
is
but
one of those categories where, in order for us to be a 50-win team, we can't be one of the 2 worst teams in the league at it, right? Like, we don't have to be a top 5 team in every category, right? But we can't be the absolute dismal worst, right? We don't want to be in the same boat as the Wizards or the Pistons in these categories, right? So if we can get up out of the 20s on some of this stuff and just be more competitive on a night-to-night basis, we're going to win a lot more ball games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's more what I was saying. Like, where on the scale do we need to be to hit these things? And like you say, Harper, like if it's bottom 2, is probably not going to get us. I mean, I think probably not even to 45 wins, right? Like,
oh well, no. What was it? Last year we were like the 27th or 26th rebounding team, and we won 47. I mean, do you want to get to to 18 or 19 or?
I mean, I think if we can get into the 3rd quartile or whatever in rebounding, like that would be a coup for sure.
But don't we have to change the scheme or change the players?
I don't know. I don't know enough about basketball to answer that question.
It's not true.
I really don't like the. It seems to me that it's just not a. So yes, I guess in short, like it needs to become a priority or some level of prioritization higher than what it is. But we've seen flashes of games where these guys can after Siakam first joined the team last year, I think there was an increased focus on getting a rebound, but
and he also does a good job of like blocking out so other guys can get the rebound even if he's not getting the rebound. There is a team aspect to it that if everybody's leaking out, you're just leaving the guy out on the by himself to battle 3 guys or block somebody out and not get the rebound. And there was so many rebounds that hit the floor, and then Drummond just tapped it to his own guy. It was it's like there was a lot of that going on too. So I don't even know what.
Well,
you do about
you
that.
can't have 5 guys leaking out. If you have 5 guys leaking out, then you're not going to get a lot of boards.
That's
right?
essentially we're doing a lot of that. We're having 4 guys are leaking out, and we're leaving Miles Turner to miss a rebound.
So here's some statistics,
What?
like some actual numbers.
Weird.
So for just rebounds per game, so 2021 Pacers averaged 42.7 in 26th in the league. The next season, 2021, 2022, they were 21st in the league. So moving on up. But then the next season we were 24th, the 22-23, and then last season we were 28th out of 30 teams.
Okay.
So we've been in the bottom third for the last 5 years, and we've not been great. The last season was successful, but before that we missed playoffs. And
how long's Carlisle been coaching? This round.
This is
his 4th season.
that sounds about right.
Okay.
So, the good news is our 41.5 rebounds last year, while 3rd worst in the league, is only 2 boards a game off the median, right? The Timberwolves at 15th had 43.6 boards a game. It doesn't seem like 2 more boards a game should be something that's totally not achievable.
We would have won the game against Philly if we'd had 2 more rebounds. So those rebounds are achievable, and they're also the difference between wins and losses. And
the best rebounding team is not the biggest team. It's the Golden State Warriors, followed by the Boston Celtics, right? But it's because they play really solid fundamental basketball and, win those 50-50 balls.
and win titles.
And titles.
One of the things that we have to do is not sort of rest on our laurels and continue to be a team that sort of outcompetes the other team from a night-to-night basis. And sort of, I think that attitude, if you go into the game with that attitude, that you're just going to play harder than the other team, then you're going to hold your own on the glass, right? So doing things like going after loose balls and all that kind of stuff is that's all the little stuff that I think that this team needs to do to be successful. And since we're so good at offense, maybe doing that little dirty stuff isn't something that they're necessarily inclined to do. But I think that's a mental adjustment that needs to happen, I think, for this team to be successful.
It's not always the stuff that gets you on SportsCenter, but it is the stuff that wins games.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and to start this season, we've been outcompeted in every game. Just because we won the Detroit game doesn't mean that they weren't playing harder than us. Getting those loose balls and 50-50 stuff and rebounds,
Mm-hmm.
We just have more talent than they do. So,
All right, what other things that we want to see, individual areas of the game, do we want to see improved or even toned down? Are they too good at anything that they need to? It's a long season, right?
We're not too good at anything right now, I'll tell you that.
That's true.
I think that being efficient on the offensive end, meaning taking care of the basketball, not just giving the other team free looks. I don't know how many times during that, I think it was the New York game, maybe it's the Detroit game as well, where we'd play great defense or even get a steal, and then we just throw it right back to the other team. Mm-hmm. Like we're in too much of a hurry almost or something. And we just got to cut those down to where, like last year, I think we were one of the better teams taking care of the basketball, and that was a big part of our success. And so I would highlight that.
And I also mentioned on Monday, but just we got to stop the parade to the free throw line. If you're just giving up free points all night when you're already struggling defensively, that's going to be bad news for you.
It's still the most efficient shot in basketball is the free throw.
Yeah, what's frustrating is that we do tend to put stretches together on the floor of either a few possessions in a row or even in one possession of really nice, defense. It's sustaining it, and we have these lapses. We're not a completely, laughable defense where we don't know what we're doing, but it's just not, the high level consistency is not there. We're capable of playing defense, at least for stretches.
Yeah, and getting to a place again where we can at least shut down one guy a game. We're gonna have to get back to finding that, and whether that's Toppin or Neesmith or what have you. We need a shutdown guy on the perimeter. And the way we got lit up by Maxey, everybody in a Knicks jersey, and Cade Cunningham.
Right.
We got some work to do. Just putting a man on a man and just trying to make something good happen.
Oh, every guard in the league is
48 minutes.
circling the Pacers game because they're like, that's where I dropped my 40.
Woo!
It's
a contract game.
That's right.
Push
Well,
up
we've
the
got,
numbers.
I think Neesmith is supposed to be the lockdown guy, right? Is he not?
We would like him to be that.
He plays hard.
That's, I feel like, a phrase you use when someone's not performing well.
I mean, he's not an elite stopper. I mean, he's a good defender who plays hard, but like he's not shutting anybody down. Clearly. And Nembhard, I think he's an above average perimeter defender, but he's not stopping anybody. We just don't have elite stoppers on our team. And Halliburton looks like he's learning some stuff on defense. Occasionally I'll see him making the right read, and but either he's not that interested in it or doesn't have the physical skill to do it. I don't know. He's the opposite of whatever an elite defender is.
Are we gonna have to just throw Jarris Walker on some teams number ones just to see if he can do anything at some point this season? Because we can't keep getting lit up for 40 plus by the other guy's best, especially when they only have one scorer on the floor.
Right. Well, I'd love Matherin to take this challenge or whatever, because I mean, Jason, you mentioned how hungry he looks and he's ready to go. He thinks he's better than everybody. He thinks he can score on anybody. All that's great. I love the confidence, but I want him to also just be like, yeah, all right, you're getting lit up by, Cunningham. I'll go down and shut him down for 5-minute stretches. And he doesn't seem that interested in that right now.
Well, I don't know. I think he is interested in it. I think he just doesn't have
know how.
the skills yet. I mean, I thought it was interesting and sort of, well, I can't say for the Philly game because I didn't watch it, but in the Detroit game, yes, they put him on Cunningham for a few possessions, and in the New York game, put him on Brunson when sort of he was eating Nembhard and sort of Neesmith alive. And he fought hard, those are crafty offensive basketball players, and so he didn't slow them down or stop them by any means. But I think it's clear that he recognizes that that's a part of his game that needs to be improved upon, and I think he's working on it. And I think that he will get there. He's got all the physical abilities to. I
mean, what do you think what is his ceiling as a defender?
I don't think it's high. I think it's
above average.
Yeah, above average. Yeah, exactly.
We could
definitely a non-negative.
A non-sieve.
Yeah, we could use. Yeah. We need more non-sieves.
Yeah.
I mean, so at the end of the day, who's our best defender out there.
I think Colson made a good point. It might be Jarris Walker, which is hard to say for a dude that hasn't played that many NBA minutes. But like, he's like very long and crafty. Has great hands. He made like 3 steals or something like that in the New York game. Just straight up on pretty good ball handlers too. Like,
I think Carlisle said that Isaiah Jackson is the most versatile defensive player he's ever seen, or he's ever coached. Not ever seen, but ever coached. Maybe that's just his body, because we haven't seen him like just tear up the league on defense. But he definitely has the skills. He can move on the perimeter. He can jump out of the gym. Yeah, but what if we just do Jarris Walker and Isaiah Jackson on the perimeter? put Siakam and Miles Turner.
Versatility is not the same as a lockdown 1-to-5 defender.
Yeah, no, I agree.
He can do lots of things on the floor, and he's really useful, and that means that he can, sort of make up for a lot of other people's mistakes.
Yeah.
But sticking him one-on-one with Jason Tatum is probably not going to bear a lot of fruit.
No, I agree. No. But I mean, what if your starting lineup was, or what's your defensive lineup?
Nembhard, Nesmith, Matherin, Walker, Jackson, or maybe Toppin instead of.
Yeah, or I mean, do you want T.J. McConnell to get you a couple steals a game? You
don't want Turner in that lineup, Herbert?
Well, Turner was the one that for me was missing.
I mean, maybe.
He's your best rim defender for sure.
I mean, but how important is rim defense?
I guess it's a matchup thing.
Yeah. I'm just with him out there, like, we're not a great defensive team, and our first team's kind of going to be our first team. That's kind of where my brain was at. Is our defensive team is going to be our second team,
right?
On some level, right?
Sure.
Because we're probably not gonna mess with the starting lineup that much.
So our defensive team is going to be our second team, and they're going to score 50 points a game?
Yes.
Yeah. It's almost like they should be starters.
Huh. Okay.
But I do think that there's some hope for, some guys on this team to improve and show something. But we've got a lot of work to do.
We also talked about, we've got 12 guys that probably should be seeing minutes. I mean, is this a situation where we take a couple guys and trade for a lockdown defender or a big-ass rebounder, and change some personnel situations to try to fix some of this bleeding?
I don't know. Yeah.
It's hard for me to just like pick out the guy that I just really want on this team.
Right.
I really like the chemistry.
Sure. I love
where
all
it was
these
at
guys.
the end of last season. Right. I
Mm-hmm.
felt like that this was a really cohesive together team that loved playing basketball, and maybe they just weren't quite ready to come back to the gym yet. Right. And so the first week has not looked great, and maybe it just takes a little while to get back into rhythm, and that's okay. But when you start off, with these sort of efforts, I mean, you do need to pretty quickly put something good on film, to avoid a situation where you start seeing a real dip in morale, I think.
Yeah. And I mean, not to like boil it down to the simplest of things, or like be a talking head on
I just
ESPN,
want a really simple answer.
But like, the NBA is simple sometimes. Your best players have to play like really good players, and our 2 all-star guys have not been looking like all-star guys for the first week of the season, I would argue. And if that doesn't happen, if those guys don't get to that level, we're not winning 50 games. Doesn't matter all the scheming and rotations and focus on rebounding or whatever you do. If Halliburton's not playing like an all-star and Siakam's not playing like an all-star or all-star adjacent sort of player, like, we're going to be on the outside looking in at the playoffs.
Fact.
Yeah, I would agree.
That's super scary.
I mean, I think all that stuff we were talking about.
Like, we're paying those guys $250 million to take us to the promised land. Like,
Yeah.
they need to do it.
We're gonna need more than what we saw this week.
Right, exactly. They're capable, but we came into the season very excited about this combination of players and like the depth on this team, and I still have full confidence that they. I mean, I think Tyrese needs to find his joie de basketball again. I think it's been a while since he's been in a place where he's been really cruising. It's been since before the injury, so he needs to get back to that place. And Siakam. I mean, I have no doubt that he even he didn't play great this week, and he was still the most solid player that we had. I think so.
Yeah, but his life is way easier when he's not a guy who has to go in and consistently, be the man, right? Halliburton needs to be able to help him out by spreading the floor, and that means hitting threes. It means taking care of the ball and doing all the things that he does.
That's right, and just getting people easy buckets, easy looks. I mean, the other there were so many. He still creates so many good looks. And we just weren't hitting them this week, In some ways, it comes down to that. It's the old Stan Van Gundy, It's a make or miss league. Like, if you're not making your shots,
missed a lot of shots.
Yeah.
LeBron James, clearly one of the greatest basketball players of all time. But one of the reasons he's elite is because for the last 1,200 games, he's averaged at least 10 points, right? I mean, when you're superstar, the guy's on the marquee, walks into Madison Square Garden and puts up a donut, it's not going to get you very far.
No.
Nope. But he knows that.
Yeah, and we've seen him respond before. I think, what was it, a couple years ago? Like Miami, focused on him and shut him down one game, and then the next time he played them, he put 45 on their head or something. So, yeah. I mean, he's a fantastic basketball player.
Yeah.
He's going to get out of this rut.
But sooner would be helpful.
Yeah. That would ease all of our minds.
Yeah, because him being elite makes all the other guys and all the depth and all the stuff work. I mean, you're right.
That is absolutely right. Speaking of LeBron, I don't know if we talked about it. Did you guys, so Bronny, his son was played in the game, didn't score a point or anything like that, but just a really cool moment with LeBron had checked out of the game, and then he and his son checked in together in the second quarter or whatever.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just a super cool moment, and like the interview with LeBron afterwards, when they asked him about it, was just definitely the most emotional I've seen LeBron. Talking about I'm gonna remember that for how cool is that? That's just it was almost breaking his brain in real time. You could see him sort of processing it and coming to terms with it or whatever. It was just I thought it was a really sweet moment. I don't know if you guys saw it, but
we'll link to that.
Yeah.
It's also just doubly cool because this has been the plan for a long time. And
I love it when a plan comes together.
Well, plan comes together, and then it's still, meaning so much when you've been thinking about it for a long time. But yeah, very, very cool. All right, any other glaring holes in the Pacers makeup that we need to really drill into? Do you think we've given them enough to think about?
Yeah. Go think about what you've done.
Yeah. Well, they haven't gotten us our press pass, so they need to work on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think they've got a full week of work to do.
Obi Toppin needs to get more dunks. What's going on?
More dunks.
Neesmith had a filthy one in the Philly
he did.
game.
I saw that. That was nice.
It was pretty sweet. There was a moment in the Knicks game when the ball got stuck up on top of the basket, and normally in those situations, someone goes and grabs a broom or something, or you know, the little mop that they use to mop the sweat mop or whatever. And Top is like, I'll just go get it. And
Yeah, that was amazing.
yeah, people shouldn't be able to do that, but he can.
But he can.
Yeah. All right, team. Any other topics we want to dig into this week, or we're gonna let the team off with a warning? All right.
Yeah, they're on double secret probation, I'd say.
All right, team. Well, we'll be back with you next week. Thanks for hanging out with us and digging in deep to the Pacers. You know what? The reason we do this is because we care. You know, we have high expectations for you, and we know you can do better. You know, we've raised you to not to be like this. You know, and no, we this team on paper. You know, we know what this team can do. It's a really talented group of really good guys that we like. You know, so you know, we got a nice taste of that last season. With the in-season tournament, you know, getting to the finals there and getting to the Eastern Conference Finals, and you know, performing really well as a team. Many times, particularly when it counted, they came to play. So I'm hoping to get, you know, back into that very quickly. But until next time, you can find us on social media. We are on Twitter at Undebeatables. We're on Facebook.com/The Undebeatables. Our website is TheUndebeatables.com. And there's also a contact form there you can use to send us a message. And good old email, shout out at TheUndebeatables.com. And the few remaining shirts that we have for this current run are at TheUndebeatables.com/store.
For the architect, Donnie Walsh, and our once and always Hall of Fame coach, Bobby Sickleonard. Dirt out the lights, the party's over. Spooky. I lost the thread about halfway.
Yeah, I watched it like in real time as you became increasingly more confused about what was coming
I
out.
did. My eyes were getting real big.
Where is
I
this
can't
going?
stop it. Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween.
Stay safe out there, everybody.